Other things. The National Political Commissar, Comrade Bima, will give his remarks after the spokesperson has spoken.
I'll introduce him first. It's okay.
So thank you very much. You're all welcome, and it's good to see you standing on your feet. Welcome, and over to you, our spokesperson, Comrade Chris Mwonzora. The occasion is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Director Mgwadi. I made sure that you are here by my side because they've got a tendency of creating news about you and fake news about you. You can see that he enjoys my full confidence. He's got the trust of the two Politburo members who are here and the whole Politburo we represent, and the party as well as our president. We are here today primarily to thank you, the press, for the coverage which you gave us during the most successful rally of the campaign election which you have just launched on Saturday in Epworth. We are also very thankful of the men behind that event, and he is our National Political Commissar. We have always told you that ZANUPf is a party which takes the Zimbabwean electorate seriously. It takes its membership serious, and it takes Zimbabweans in general very, very seriously. So when we get a response in kind from the population of Zimbabwe, as was shown on Saturday, we naturally want to thank the people of Epworth. We want to thank the leadership in Epworth, and we want to thank the Zimbabwean populace in general for the demonstration of support which was evinced during the rally in Epworth. We also want to thank our president for a clear-cut message about the economic direction which Zimbabwe is taking. We also want to thank him for the show of unity where he was with all his top leadership at the rally, in contrast to other parties where, featuring is the deed in fashion. Ours was, the full leadership was there in support of the president in addressing that meeting. But my colleague, he has got some announcements, some gripes, Comrade Bima, about the way our party members have been handled elsewhere, because people are getting frustrated by the fact that, small opposition parties are getting frustrated by the show of support. So their reaction has been sulking violence against our members in some constituencies as we campaign for this election. We are a part of peace. We are a part of democracy. We brought democracy to Zimbabwe. We want this election to be peaceful, and we appeal to everybody to constrain themselves, to restrain themselves, and if there are issues, they go to the police rather than to take matters into their hands. So, Comrade Bima, he has got one or two things to say about this particular topic. Comrade Bima, your turn.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mwonzora, our party spokesperson. I also want to recognize Comrade Mgwadi, the director in the Department of Information and Publicity, and also to welcome you all. As Comrade Mwonzora indicated, we had a successful launch of our campaign rally in Epworth on Saturday, which was well attended. But I think more importantly was the discipline that was displayed by those who attended. There was no report of any incident at the rally or even after the rally. And that is what we would want to see, that meetings are held, campaigns are conducted, and there are no incidents of violence. And ZANUPf doesn't condone any any violence of any sort. And it is surprising, and what a big contrast that after a successful rally in Epworth here in Harare, that this morning we had our members attacked in Jube, in Bulawayo. After the launch in Epworth, in most of our provinces, they did set up campaigning teams at provincial level, campaign teams at various levels in terms of our structures. So this morning, we had campaigning teams who were going around doing their business, and we have been informed that they were then attacked by members of the oppositions. They were attacked by way of people throwing stones and others using catapults. There have been several cases of injuries as a result of that. A few minutes ago, I was in touch with one of our officials in Bulawayo, and they did tell me that they were on their way to the hospital so that they could give us an accurate report on how many people have been injured and the severity of those injuries. And as I said earlier on, it disheartens that when you have people who are just carrying out their business peacefully and then they are disrupted by violent mobs disrupting their activities. We are still to wait to get the accurate figures, as I said earlier on, but I thought it's an issue that is of importance to us, that such incidents are coming out after His Excellency the President really appealed for peaceful campaigning on Saturday. And I'm sure those responsible will be treated accordingly. I thought, party spokesperson, I should just make mention of this incident that has happened this morning in Juve, in Bulawayo. I thank you. I've been advised as well that this case has been reported to the police, and police are doing their work in terms of making investigations, and I'm sure we should be getting a report within an hour's time in terms of what's happening there, as well as the condition of those who have been injured. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Comrade National PC. I don't know whether there are any questions, because he's seized with that matter. There's also a full plate in his hands, so I don't want to hold him any longer than is necessary. So I'll give you a chance to ask him if he please do.
They, as I said, when you talk of opposition, you are talking of anyone who is opposed to ZANUPf. These were ZANUPf members carrying out their campaigning business And I want to assume that whoever attacked them opposes what they are trying to achieve. But I would know which political party they represented, and I'm sure such details will come out after the investigations by the police as well as our security personnel in Bulawayo.
Thank you. Another question? Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You are free to go.
Thank you.
So there it is, members of the press. We are exposing this case of violence quite early on in the elections for the by-elections, the mini national election by-elections going on right now. We are appealing to all responsible political parties to desist from violence. On the part of ZANUPf, we want to promise you and to promote a very clean election, exactly in the manner of the behavior of our supporters, which you saw in Epworth. There was a big crowd in Epworth. It actually showed ZANUPf coming back to the urban areas. We told you that the president has launched a program of urban renewal for the people of Zimbabwe as a follow-up to his very successful rural policies, which have restored prosperity to the urban populace. To the rural populace, Pfumvudza, irrigation for rural people, the building of access roads, devolution, all these things are bringing palpable prosperity to rural people. He said that he felt it was important that in Zimbabwe nobody is left behind. It is important that the urban people should also be part of this march to prosperity. And the rally in Epworth was a launch of this urban prosperity program, the urban renewal program of the President E.D. Mnangagwa, for the people of Zimbabwe. He covered a lot of areas during his address. The main thing being that ZANUPf has resorted to presidential powers as a method of overcoming the ineptitude which is characteristic of the MDC as an administrator of our major towns since 2 decades ago. Harare is a major city with budgets sometimes overtaking some African countries. At one time, we were bigger than Malawi in Harare alone. If the MDC had any credence as a part of governance, with such a huge budget, with such a huge responsibility to one of the major and most loved cities of Africa, Harare, it would have shown in the last 20 years that it can administer a city to the standards which the ratepayers expect of it. Alas, there has been none of that. You all come from sewage ponds. You all come from potholes. You all drive through potholes on your way here. There is no urban transport. There are no jobs. Garbage is not collected. This is the MDC at its best. Now that MDC is the party which now says it wants to go to State House. Charity begins at home. Just a few days ago, they were saying they are promising universal education to the people of Zimbabwe. Can you please start by collecting garbage so that the people can know that their children can go to school without being menaced by typhoid or cholera? Can you please have running water so that those children, before you promise them universal education, can avoid drinking infested water? Can you please start by having the parents go to school in decent roads so that their children can drive to school knowing that they've got a caring council? All that is non-existent. To expect anything from the MDC on a national level when they are failing so dismally at local government level. They had a chance and they showed that they are incompetent. They don't care. They only care for one thing, which is power at State House. And when State House, which is the central government, begins to address those issues, they adopt a narcissist agenda. please usati wambodira jecha imbofikisaiwo nzvimbo dzamunogara, because dira jecha means you are being negative. This is the part of negativity. So these are the issues which the president highlighted, that when we are going to these elections, the electorate in the urban areas must make a comparison. Who is beginning to fix your roads? That's the person who cares about you. Who has taken Mwonzora to the urban areas so that they can also use the scientific method of farming in urban areas, because the plots don't have to be big. That is ZANUPf. And there's now food sufficiency even in urban areas. We are even now, it was a big announcement. We have joined the World Food Program in supplying food to Mozambique, which has been stricken by Cyclone Ana. This was unthinkable. Zimbabwe was always seen as a basket case. But under the Second Republic of President Mnangagwa, we've turned the agricultural sector around, and we are making this country a bread basket, and we are already ready to play our role as a food surplus nation with the international body, which is the United Nations, through their various charity programs, starting with our neighbor Mozambique. This is the new republic of President E.D. Mnangagwa. We also covered during the rally the direction which our economy is going at regional level. He is a busy man. He is working 25 hours a day. He had just come back to Mozambique, where we are forging alliances, economic alliances with our neighbor Mozambique, because we are two countries which are joined at the hip, Zimbabwe and Mozambique. We are a landlocked country. We now want Mozambique to help us become a land-linked country, where we use our mineral resources, they use their energy resources in a symbiotic relationship with Mozambique, so that we attract capital at a global level, so that we can use the resources to ply our way into the international economy. This is what President Mnangagwa is doing. He is not cringing about sanctions from the Americans. No, he's not cringing about sanctions from the EU. He is taking proactive steps to make sure that this economy grows, notwithstanding the American sanctions. And it is growing, this economy. 5.2% according to a taciturn World Bank, Bretton Woods, IMF institution, but 7.8%. But he's going further, our president. We're 7.8% according to our bank resource, our National Bank and our Minister of Finance. But he's taken the economic management further. We want to harness the latent energy of the urban population into this bandwagon of economic prosperity. So he announced the issuing of title deeds. When we said it with Mgwadi a few weeks ago, people said it was a gimmick. Now you have heard it from the horse's mouth. The president himself announced that he will be issuing title deeds. And he said that it will be an exception not to be granted a title deed if you've got a piece of urban property. And the only exception is if your house is on a planned road or on a wetland or a similar planning impediment. Then you cannot get a title deed. But in the event there is contingents that we are going to start building plants. You have heard that Minister Garu was talking of Shelter Africa setting up headquarters in Zimbabwe. There will be apartments for those people who cannot be accommodated on title deeds. This is reality. I want to tell you that had it not been for the fact that quiller birds are being scouted by our space agents, we would be having the scientists from our national space agents sitting by my side, giving you the program of how far they've done with their spatial planning from space, as well as drones, to make sure that people get the physical addresses which will be the basis of title deeds. This is reality. Don't be fooled that it's a gimmick. Last time we said we were distributing land in this country as the part of the revolution. The MDC said it is a gimmick. 20 years later, everybody in the MDC is looking for a piece of land. ZANUPf, what it says, it does. We said we are going to give you independence. In 1980, we gave it. We said we will make you sure that Zimbabwe is the most educated country in Africa when we were fighting the war. Yes, today we are the most educated country in Africa. We said we will set up a military structure which will defeat the foremost empire of at Ketspo, the Rhodesian Ketspo of the British Empire. We said we will set up a military complex, a military machinery to do that, and ZANUPf and ZIPRA actually did that. So please, when ZANUPf says that it is going to do something, take it seriously. It will deliver. Yes, we had our mishaps during the last 2 decades of the First Republic, but you also saw what we could do. Many years, the MDC tried to remove Mugabe from power. That was their purpose for 2 decades. They failed. ZANUPf decided that Mugabe must go, and yours truly was part of that arrangement. Mugabe went. This is what you got to take what ZANUPf says seriously, more so with our president, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa. He is serious about the revival of the Zimbabwe economy. So at micro level, we are busy linking up with Mozambique. We will become a major steel producer. They will supply us with gas from Buzi, where the river Buzi meets the Limpopo near Beira. There is a huge gas find. So we are going to be supplying green compliant power from the gas fields in Buzi to power, to energize the steel sector and the chrome sector and the metallurgical sector of Zimbabwe. This means growth at a level which, when you combine with the title deeds for urban areas, will notch double-digit growth. This economy is going to pump, believe you me. That is the reason why the president is also defending the Zimbabwe dollar. There is a lot of debate. People have nostalgia to the false claims by BT that he fixed the inflation when he was the Minister of Finance, when it was the GNU. To the contrary, ZANUPf just said our currency is weak, it is under attack. Let's use the US dollar to fend off that attack. But now with the Second Republic, because it's pro-business, the economy is growing. Agriculture is doing well. Businesses are bullish. Foreign direct investment is coming in droves. People, big companies, even Fortune 500 companies are coming into Zimbabwe to invest in Zimbabwe. So the supply side of our economy is being fixed. It means we are beginning first to save on the importation of food and other things which we can grow at home. We are saving on US dollars. It means our pile of US dollars is growing. But more important, by growing our exports in coking coal, in diamonds, in gold, which we are producing in huge amounts, in ferrochrome, it means we are also earning US dollars from the global market. It means again our dollar pile is growing. But also by attracting investments at the scale like the Mvuma Manize steel plant and what's happening in Mzarabani, it means we are getting huge US dollars being pumped into the economy by world-class investors. It means again our dollar pile, US dollar pile is building up. So it means our currency can be supported because there is a growing surplus of US dollars in our economy. In that instance, we must use the advantage that we have a national currency which is competitive on the global markets. If you run your economy in US dollars, then it is the American Federal Bank which decides on the mark sheet of your performance. As a proud nation with competent people, organized nation with also a lot of resources, we cannot allow the Federal Reserve Bank of America to be the master of our currency in Zimbabwe. So the president is right. The central bank is right. Those who are in the MDC who are trying to use the teachers to say that we must make Zimbabwe dollar our currency, they are wrong and the history will judge them wrongly. I repeat what I said last time. The MDC always destroys the unions. They destroyed the labor unions by sanctions because factories closed, and without closed factories, there are no workers. So if there are no workers, there is no ZCTU. In the meantime, the government is paying teachers. So the teachers are organized. So the MDC now follows with its trail of destruction to the next productive center, which is the teaching profession, and wants them to be the basis of destabilization of the country. Why don't you fix Why didn't you call for sanctions to be exempt to the cities where you were administrators, so that Americans would have supported the economy of the towns where the MDC was in charge? No, the Americans didn't do that. The MDC didn't do that. So they destroyed the economy of the towns. They destroyed their basis of as a party, their basis of support. That's why ZANUPf is now harvesting the urban vote, and I can assure you that come elections on 26 March, our people will vote. And when they vote this time, the MDC will be consigned to the dustbin of history. We say to the MDC, incidentally, like Chebundo said, the party has been destroyed by Chamisa. Can you imagine the proud tradition of Morgan Tsvangirai as a fighter of democracy? There are many things which we are not happy with, but it's ZANUPf not wafa. We look at his positive side. He fought valiantly for democracy and we against the authoritarian tendencies of Mugabe. We were with Morgan Tsvangirai when we did the big demonstration in 2017. I personally engaged Morgan Tsvangirai when he was in South Africa, and we bonded so well. I was doing it on behalf of President Mnangagwa, who was then the Vice President of the Republic, as we tried to build a coalition against the G40. So he is a national institution, Morgan Tsvangirai, and his party, MDC, equally a beacon of the fight of Zimbabweans for what is just and what is democratic. Now, that name disappears in history. Tsvangirai is gone. He is replaced by Nelson Chamisa, Chete. That's what he's replaced with. And that name, MDC, is gone too. Finished. Just like that. Can you imagine? And on top of it, what does Nelson say? Although he wants to ride on the laurels of the party, he wants also to dissociate himself from the mess which the urban areas are. President EDM has been in charge for only 3 years, since 2017. Look at the dramatic changes which he has done. We ZANUPf feel proud. We didn't say ZANUPf is the part of Mugabe, so we changed the name. No. We say ZANUPf is the proud tradition of the people of Zimbabwe as a nationalistic and patriotic people. We retain that name. Tsvangirai's name is gone. The MDC name is gone. Chete Chamisa has taken over. He has destroyed the party. Now, how can people who feel that they fought for MDC identify with a party which actually destroys their roots, their tradition? Chebundo was right. He was the founder member of the MDC. He was lamenting the death of his party at that rally. And we in ZANUPf, we welcome all good-intentioned Zimbabweans to come and build a united force against Chete, because Chete means nothing to the Zimbabwe people. So, by and large, we are here to thank the ZANUPf party for the marvelous organization which went on at Epworth during the elections. I'm getting confused with my Chebundo. It was a wonderful occasion of people of camaraderie. We are thankful of the leadership of ZANUPf. Most important, we are very proud of the leadership which was paraded by the president to be the front runners of our election come 26 March. All dedicated Zimbabweans who mean well for the electorate of Zimbabwe, in particular the urban constituents, which has become stragglers. They are lagging behind in the economic prosperity which the president is creating, and the president is addressing it. We are very confident that the urban electorate will respond in kind on 26 March, because we are determined to make urban cities as the shining beacons of Zimbabwe, where foreigners come in when they arrive here. We want them to be an example for Africa, the urban centers of Zimbabwe. Our leadership, original leadership in ZANUPf in the 1960s, 50s, came from urban areas. This nationalist movement came from urban areas. We see this is our home. ZANUPf has come back home to the urban areas, and we are going to displace the sanctions-loving MDC which does not, which chombo chao, an indiscriminate weapon called sanctions, even when they are administrators, when they are in charge, sanctions hit them. They hit urban areas even worse than rural areas. And still the MD supports those sanctions. Now the electorate must vote this party out of power, and that's what our president appealed to the electorate. Vote the incompetence out of power on 26 March, and it's going to happen. I thank you.